Are you listening?
So every day I was home, I would go over Grandpa's house in the morning, pull up in the driveway, walk up the patio. He was always sitting in his chair. And I remember thinking, Grandpa's waiting for me. He wasn't waiting for me, but 94, 95, 96, 97 years old, you don't go far. I remember I'd walk in the house and you had to shake his hand. And Grandpa would invite me to sit down. You have grandparents? You know how your grandparents, they don't talk much, but they want to hear about you.
How's school today? Ask you, how's your boyfriend? Listen.
My grandpa, he was like, he didn't talk. He just sat there like, and I remember when you'd shake his hand, he would invite me to sit down. Folks, I never sat down until he invited me to do so. And so I remember I would take my seat and Grandpa was just sitting there. He didn't talk, so I'd have to, how you doing, Grandpa? Good? That's good. Nice day, huh? Yeah. The sky is out. Grandpa's just like, and I'm lost the words. I'm thinking, the sky is always out. I want to share with you 3 things I'll always remember from what my grandpa said. I remember we sat there to talk once and he said,
"3 most powerful words that we can say to one another. I love you."
Never talked about his money, never talked about his home. Talked about family. And the second thing,
3
everything was 3 there.
most courageous words that we can say to someone. I'm sorry.
And I was like, Grandpa, that's 2. And he was like,
You're wise.
but. He didn't say but though, he said, no. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll never forget that day when I showed up and Grandpa wasn't sitting in his chair. I walk in the house, Grandpa's laying on the kitchen floor. He'd fallen and broken his hip and he couldn't get up. I get down on my hands and knees, call 911. Everybody knew Ken, everyone knew Grandpa. You wanna know why? He was 97 years old. He walked 4 miles a day. He walked 2 miles to the Dunkin' Donuts. He grabbed his donut, he grabbed his orange juice. He wanted to say hi to the pretty girls. They wanted to say hi to Ken. He took it, he walked 2 miles back home every single day. When I called 911, the 911 dispatcher said to me, is this Mr. Ken? I said, yes, ma'am. Everybody showed up. Rock, Hawaii 5-0, Baywatch, paramedics, the police, the ambulance. They took Grandpa, they rushed him to the hospital. They did emergency surgery. They bring him back to his room. And that night, all the family comes in and we're sitting around his bed. And so the family's going out to dinner that night. And my wife says to me, she said, honey, why don't you stay with Grandpa? I said, well, why don't you stay with him? He's your grandpa. And my wife said to me, she said, everyone thinks that Grandpa would like it best if you were there because you were the closest one to him. Ladies and gentlemen, that night, the glow of the machines lit up the room. Grandpa just slept. And I'll tell you what I learned that night. I learned how to spell the word love. T-I-M-E, time. Early that morning, Grandpa said the 3rd thing. He said,
No, you never have time. Why don't you just do it right the first time?
family comes in that morning, his heart capacity less than 10%. The doctors sit down, they say, we give him 48 hours to live, I'm sorry. Family goes out to dinner that night. I said, I'm not going. I sat there the second night and I held his hand. I said, I love you, Grandpa. He says, thank you. I says, Grandpa, you can go. I'll take care of the family now. It's 7:30 that morning, 7:40 that morning. Grandpa fell into sleep. And the nurse came over and took the sheets. And she said, he was a nice man. And so I challenge you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting me be part of your lives. We'll see you later.